gonna make some art for you. Welcome to Nittani, there's lots of fun things to view.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Nittani Draws. I'm Nittani, and today I'm coming at you with a quick little interview. I'm going to answer the same questions that I asked Frances Ross before because I felt like it was a little bit rude to ask her all of those really intense questions and not answer them myself. So I have a little notebook here, so you're going to see me glancing down and checking out what the next question is. But I wanted to answer all those questions for you guys, and I felt like this was a good time to do it. So the first question is, why did you decide to become an artist? And there's a short answer and a long answer. The short answer is because it's the only thing I thought I was good at. But the long answer is that it was something that I was passionate about, it was something I was good at, and I went to college and found out that basically what I enjoy doing is looking at data and then find a way to internalize the data and then turn it into something that could firstly make a profit, but secondly would be interesting and thought-provoking and positive for the environment around me. I went to a pretty good business school, and the business school has a lot of awards. For the most part, the people that attended that business school are Republican, right-wing, white men who are interested in turning a huge profit off of the little man and then making sure that they could retire by the age of 50 and not have to put in a whole lot of work to do that. And that's not what I'm interested in. I knew that I'm not good at accounting, so that was out of the question. And I knew that I wanted to do something that could make me feel good at the end of the day, and that was something that was really positive for the world around me, that was somehow doing good. And I'm not overly obsessed with making money. You can't be if you want to be an artist for a living. Money comes and goes. It's something that you get used to having or you don't have. It's a necessary evil, basically. It's a myth that you can't live happily and live well without having a 9-to-5. That's a myth. There are plenty of artists out there who make a living off of their wares, are able to support their families and their homes, and are able to do what they love for a living. But it's not the thing that's going to help you retire at 25. It's not the thing that's going to lead you to millions of dollars with little to no effort whatsoever. It is a hard job. It is a thing that requires you to do so many different roles. And I don't like to sit around and do nothing. I'm not the person that sits around and watches TV. I am not the person that likes to veg for long periods of time. My husband will account to that. It drives him crazy. My husband is a guy that likes to sit down and watch Netflix at the end of the night. I am the one that comes home from a double at work and sits down and starts working on hashtags for my next video. I don't like to sit around and be lazy. I don't like to feel like I'm being lazy, so I have a tendency to overwork, but it doesn't feel like work because I love doing what I do. And because I love doing what I do, I knew that that was the right thing for me to do for my living. The next question. Do you remember your first aha moment as an artist? Yes. At the end of my very first art show, I was sitting there with my husband. He was just my boyfriend at the time. And we had just packed up the car, and I had a really successful show. And it was my very first art show I'd ever shown my artwork in, and it was incredible. I was counting out money, and I had made money, and at that point in my life, I had never made money, like real money, you know what I mean? At that point, I was making $7.80 an hour, working in a dead-end job that I hated. And I had worked a few nights tirelessly. I mean, really, it was probably 2 weeks where I just didn't sleep. And I worked really hard for those 2 weeks. And at the end of those 2 weeks, I made more in one night than I had made in the entire month at my crappy dead-end job. And it was amazing, and it felt so rewarding, and it was like, I can do this. I can do what I love for a living. I can make enough money to support myself doing this. I haven't had a show that was that good since then, but I've had some really, really great shows. I have made some great sales on Etsy. I have done some fantastic commission work. I have done things in my life that most people would never even expect to do. I think I have a hair on my nose. But I did things that were rewarding for myself instead of doing things simply because it was for a paycheck. And I think that was really important for me. So, whose art can you stare at for hours and never get bored? I have a few people that are like this for me. I like Cyrin, Cyarin on YouTube. I really love the way that she draws, and because she does Photoshop, I'm absolutely in awe of her skills because I'm terrible at Photoshop. I love watching her videos. My dog is growling at a rock outside. We call him Rocky. I'm not kidding. He actually does this all the time. Okay. So Cyrin I like to look at. Yoshitaka Amano, who did the art for the Final Fantasy games. That's what he's most well known for, but those are not my favorite works by him. I have a book of his. It's the Fairies book. I don't even know when it was made, but it's my favorite of his works. Another one that I like is... Well, I like to look at Frances's artwork because I feel like she layers so much and I have a lot to learn about layering. So I like to look at her artwork, but that's more of I want to learn from it rather than I can get lost in it. And then, oh my gosh, there are just so many. Muka, I can't think of his name right now, but he does these, he's from the 1930s, and he used to do paper cutouts and made these giant mosaics. He was hospitalized, and so he would do the paper cutouts and then design them into a design and then have tiles made of the paper cutouts that he had made to turn them into a mosaic. So I really enjoy his work. My favorite is, it's Three Suns or something like that. And it's on display at the Toledo Museum of Art, and it's in the big open entryway right as you're walking into the main museum section, and I swear I could just stare at that for days. I'm gonna call that good because that's like 5 people already. What do you think you're the best at? I think that I'm very good at blending colors with Copic markers and getting a solid color transition. I think my line art is pretty good. It's probably what I'm most known for is the detailed line work. Things like the Cyclops piece that I did and the Artemis piece that I did really showcase that a lot. And I'm also known for color vomit, as Frances calls it. I like bold, bright colors for the most part. I like to have things that are like crazy, obnoxious in your face. And I think that's what I'm most known for in this circle of artists that I travel in around town. Most of the people, I live in the Detroit metro area, so a lot of what comes out of this area is dark, rust-colored, covered in blood, mostly with leather, some kind of BDSM sort of vibe to it. A lot of the time it has chains. The color scheme is black, red, and gray. So you kind of get where I'm going. Like that's most of what comes out of Detroit in the art shows that I go to. And there's only a few artists that I can actively name who don't do that in the scene that I travel in. And that's Adam Lane, who takes photography, and his are kind of a pop art BDSM photography. Still has the BDSM thing to it, but not the dark colors. He tends to work in bright colors, pin-up sort of colors, which I love. And also Crystal Mielkarek. I hope I'm saying your name right. I have no idea. But she does like cutesy, chibi sort of characters, and they're super cute. I've bought a couple of her originals, and I have her stickers on most of my books. Because she has bold, cute, adorableness, and she also does artist alleys, which is where I got my start at, was in anime artist alleys, and so I really love her artwork. Which didn't really answer the question what I'm best at. I'm best at having a really great bubbly personality when I go to shows, line art and bright colors, and seamless blending with Copics. What's the worst bit of advice you've ever been given, and how did you get past it? I won't lie, I've been given some really bad advice. Immediately following my first successful show, I reached out to someone who I really, really respected. And I asked for advice on how to become an artist in Michigan and do it in a safe, sane, intelligent way that was going to make profit and was going to be good for my family and was going to be something that could be long-term. And the answer that I received was very negative. Basically, what I received back was, don't even try. You'll never do it. No one can do it in the climate that we live in. We live in the Detroit metro area. It will never happen. And I basically closed that email and was like, thanks for that. I'm going to ignore everything that you just said and prove you wrong. Because I'm stubborn, and that's what I do. But it stuck with me really, really vividly. A lot of the things that I do, I go out of my way to think about how I felt in that moment and look at it as, would this be something that is going to move me forward? Would this be something that this person would tell me is a great career move or not? So I worked pretty hard after that just to prove them wrong. Because anytime someone tells me I can't do something, I immediately want to tell them, I'm going to do it anyway. Who do I look up to creatively? I look up to a lot of people creatively, and that just seems like a really fake answer, but it's true. Because I think that being an artist takes just so much dogged determinedness. To make it as an artist, it's some of it is talent, yes, but a lot of it is, sometimes it's being in the right place at the right time, it's luck. Other times it's really just getting up and doing it every single day, whether you like it or not, whether you want to or not, whether you feel motivated to do it or not, whether or not you think that it's important or you think you're ever going to do anything with it, getting up and doing it anyway. And I really, really respect artists who can do that. Leilani Joy is a YouTuber who I've followed for a long time, and I feel like she does this really well. And I respect her because of her incredible ability to market herself. I mean, really, she's a fantastic marketer. I feel that way about Lacry Fine Art. She does an amazing job of posting consistently on YouTube and having beautiful artwork to back up what she has to say. She's amazing. I look up to Frances because she is one of those people who makes my work ethic look lazy. And I'm not a lazy human being. I do not sit around on my butt most of the time, but Frances she'll sleep 6 hours a night, sometimes less, so that she has more time to make more art. And I'm pretty consistently at like 8 to 9 hours. She will literally work through the night, and we did this with an art show recently, where she kept me up until 2 o'clock in the morning. We had to be up at 6 in order to go set up for this art show, and she was like, no, we need to get this, and this done. And I was like, why didn't we do this like a week ahead of time? I'm not a procrastinator by nature. I'm one of those that likes to get things done ahead of time. So I like to plan so that I'm able to sleep more. And she I mean, I don't think she has time to plan because she's always got something going on. She's doing 3 different business sort of things because she's got the glass and she's got the fine art and she's got music, and she's just hardcore about that. I look up to Barbie Lavon. He's a tattoo artist because his tattoo style is fantastic. I think he's a really, really great tattoo artist. And I really look up to him as a fine artist as well because his oil paintings are incredible. And they're all sort of like nerd themed. He does like Pokemon and Mario and stuff like that. So I really dig his art style. Let's call that enough because that's a lot. Do you have any artist horror stories? Do I have any artist horror stories? I guess like the normal ones, like I'd be in the middle of a painting and the cat would walk across the canvas and like mess up all of the blending I'd just done. I've spilled water all over a recently finished watercolor piece and just everywhere. But nothing that's crazy that like jumps to mind. Is there anything you've wanted to try but were too afraid to? Yes, lots of things. I'm kind of a scaredy cat. I don't like to leave the house very often, and I have a lot of anxiety about speaking to strangers and generally like putting myself out there when it's not in like a show or like a business or something like that. So yes, I do. I get nervous around things that are new. And so like I will never jump out of a plane. That is not something that is in the scope of things that I'm interested in trying. Not that I couldn't do it, but that I don't want to do it. But things that I've wanted to do really, really badly are like, I want to try oil painting sometime, but the blending sounds terrifying. The drying times sound like something that I have not enough of a patience to handle. And I am also kind of nervous about how to go about it because I'm not really a painter. I work with markers and pencils and watercolor, which are quick turnaround. I don't like to sit around and wait. And they're also, they don't require special tools. Turpentine and like different types of canvas and special brushes, and it just sounds like a lot of setup and a lot of stuff that I don't know how to do. What else am I afraid of? I was really afraid of starting my YouTube channel. I was nervous about it. I'm really glad that I did it now because it's brought me out of my shell a lot, but ooh, I burped. Hi there. Hey ladies, how you doing? I was really nervous about doing it, and I'm glad that I went out of my way to do it because I learned a lot from it. But when I first started, I was really, really nervous. My first couple of videos are really jerky. I took them down. You can't look at them anymore. They're awful. They're saved on my terabyte drive, but they're pretty bad. What is your advice for people who want to make art their career? I think my advice is going to be the same as Francis's, which is decide what you're willing to give up. Being an artist full-time for a career requires a lot of sacrifice. It requires a lot of hard work and dedication, and it requires a lot of saying no to things that you want to do. When I started doing this, I was 21 years old. Prime time to start partying and going to the bar and hanging out with my friends, and instead I stayed home and sewed owl pillows. Instead of going out on Saturday nights, I'm 26, like I'm still spry youngin', you know, and I could easily be out partying with my friends and going out and late into the night. I work as a server, so I have no bedtime. But instead of doing that, I stay home and I draw pictures and I make videos, but I love it. So it's not a huge sacrifice to me because it's something that I'm willing to sacrifice, and some people aren't willing to do that. Some people would not be willing to make the financial sacrifices that I've made. Instead of, buying fancy pants food or going out drinking with my friends or getting nice clothes, I spend my money on art supplies. and on lighting rigs and, you know, things like that. I bought a Wacom tablet not too long ago. I don't know how to use it, but I bought one so that I can learn how to use it. And so instead of putting that $100 that I paid for this tablet into like a new fancy cell phone or a cool case for it or getting my nails done or something, I choose to stay home and spend my money on things that I think are important. And that's how everyone lives their life. Everyone lives their life in a give and take. It's an economic thing where no matter what you're doing, you're giving up something else. And it's something that I learned in business school. On my very first day of business school, my teacher said to me, well, he said to the entire class, not just to me, he said, everything in life requires sacrifice. Whether you're sacrificing to go to school, you're sacrificing, so you're sitting in class and you could be sleeping or out with your friends. Those are things that you're sacrificing by being in class. So you have to make a decision about what's more important. And that's something that is very important when you want to become an artist for a full-time career, because there's so much time sitting alone in a room drawing, sitting in an office and drawing, sitting at a coffee shop and drawing. But it's not all drawing either. There's a lot about being an artist that isn't creative. You have to learn how to have a business. You have to learn how to file your taxes. You have to learn how to be an accountant. You have to keep a record of what you're doing. You have to have a marketing plan, a business plan. You have to be able to maintain a website. You have to be able to take pictures for your Etsy or whatever type of storefront you're going to have. You have to be able to take video. You have to be able to just do so many different things. And being able to do all of those things well can be difficult because, I mean, for sure, I'm not amazing at this, but it's something that's got a learning curve, and you've got to learn how to do all of these different things. And until you learn how to do them, you don't really feel like you're doing it right, and it's just a lot. So that's what I recommend if you want to become an artist. Do a lot of research. Spend a lot of time with your friends before you decide to do this so that when you decide to do it, you can actively say, nah, man, I gotta stay home this weekend, and be ready to sacrifice and do some hard work and dedication. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this got you a little bit more in depth about who I am as an artist and who I am as a person. I will post some links to some of the different artists and people that I talked about before. And I hope you like and subscribe and comment. And if there's any other questions you want me to answer in another video later, I would be happy to do that. And this is awesome. This was kind of fun. I like vlogging. Anyway, I will see you guys in the very next video.